Wall Street. Chatting this morning with MaryAnn Sterret-Russell of Keller Williams Memorial. Find her online at energycorridorgroup.com. And as far as the housing market is concerned, not nationally, but a local perspective on the housing market. In fact, looking as far as July is concerned, the latest numbers that we have out for July, of course, the summer season, I would say that's the peak real estate time. Wouldn't you say, MaryAnn?
Probably peak would be May, June, July. Yes.
Okay, and then it starts to come down after that as we head closer to school
starts
cranking back up.
Right, school starts and slows down a bit.
So as far as July is concerned for 2011 compared to maybe July of last year, how are we looking?
Well, we have some excellent news here in Houston today. According to the MLS report, press release last week, headline news: Houston home sales rise again in July. That is great. Single-family homes rose 16.7%. That was from July 2010 to July 2011.
So a year-over-year number as far as how we did in 2010 compared to where we are this past month. We're up over 15%.
16.7%. Now that's in single-family homes. If you take all categories, that would include townhouses, single-family, and condos. We are up 17.1%.
That's great.
That's
from
awesome.
Sales from this year to last year.
Yeah.
If you take a year-to-date, now let's go back, say from this past year, January to now, we also were up 2 other months. Now January was up 8.4%, and we were also up in June 0.5%. So for 3 months, that's excellent news for Houston.
I saw a reference, I think in the Houston Business Journal, saying it was the J months that have done well so far: January, June, and July. And you have to keep in mind also, if you rewind back, it was 2010, about May or so, when that credit was coming to a close. Is that right?
Right. Well, I think a lot of this they contribute to the fact that the tax credit expiration was last year in April. So yes, this year sales were slower last year than this year would be.
Nonetheless, breaking through this data here, according to MaryAnn, it looks like we've got the housing market showing some signs of some improvement there as far as year-over-year numbers. Now, as far as year-to-date are concerned, the volume year-to-date for 2011. How have we done there?
If we look at the big picture now, average sales price, we're up 3.2%.
I was going to ask you if those are right. I was going to ask you if the reports broke that down.
The average sales price is up 3.2%. Now, actual sales are down 2.2%.
Right.
But
the number count.
I think that unfortunately sometimes what the consumer sees is just the number of sales.
Right.
And so actually, if we can go back, Wayne, and look at July. The actual total listings were down 9.5%. Sales price was up 0.7%. But for those of you listening in and thinking about selling your house, what does that really mean? That's really a positive to you if the number of listings are down.
Right.
So that bottom line, Econ 101, supply and demand.
Right.
Sales, the number of listings are down. So for you, a seller, that's good news.
That's really good.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm seeing bidding wars out there. I mean, I just had a closing 2 weeks ago, and house was priced right, and bidding wars. Fortunately, had the buyer that got the bid, and we were at the closing. But if it's priced right because of the shortage of inventory, that is excellent news. So.
And is that, as far as a shortage of inventory is concerned, I would imagine there's pockets of the Houston area, different communities that probably see a little bit more demand and less supply than other areas where you've got maybe even new construction going on, kind of helping to add to that supply.
Right.
So it's probably case-by-case basis.
I think it varies, and I think you're right. I mean, from my perspective, I see those areas that have the jobs close by.
Right.
Those areas seem to be growing, and that's why people are moving in, and they're coming into those communities.
Did you see the headline that BP had recommitted to the energy corridor area, which has got to be a positive, a huge positive?
Right. So, I mean, we have good job growth. People are still moving in. So that's actually been, extremely positive for our city. And actually, it's in, if you look at all the different categories, interesting enough, and I was researching the information, you've got, below 80,000, like with this past month, they were up 15% in all categories. Homes 150 to 250 were up. Homes from 250 to 500 were up. But what's really interesting is the ones that were really up is the upper end. Luxury homes, 500,000 and above, are up 25.7%. And if we go back year to date, every month, with the exception, I believe it was April, that particular market was up. The other categories varied from different areas, whether they were up or down.
Right.
So the upper end of the market, as far as price is concerned, seeing consistent improvement throughout 2011 so far. That's good news.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then this last piece of data, you've seen positive numbers come out of every particular price segment.
Yes, yes.
So it's not just the bottom end moving up, or not just the mid-average prices moving up. We're seeing it across the board here in the Houston area.
Absolutely.
Great data, MaryAnn. Great data.
At 80,000 and below, 15.8%. 150 to 250, these are all rise. 18.5%. 250 to 500, 13.7%. And like I said, 500,000 and up, soared 25.7%. Now that's in July, so that's a good sign.
My goodness,
so
pretty good increases.
Compared to the national headlines, which are home sales are down in July.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I think that's excellent. I will say the leasing market is also up. I think there's a continued high demand for lease properties. And this demand is mainly for steady, improving employment, like we mentioned earlier.
Sure.
So July was up 21.6%, June 19.2%, and May 19.9%. And I think what we are finding, though, is people are moving in here because of the job growth, but a lot of them can't sell their houses from where they're coming from. So the cities that they're in, so they're coming here and they're electing to lease right now. So those of you that are investors and looking for investment, there is a shortage of inventory for lease properties.
MaryAnn, this has really got to help you when you have people coming into the city of Houston, into your area, into your market area, the energy corridor over there, wanting stable areas where they're going to be able to know that their houses are going to hold their value. And I think this is great data to be able to deliver to clients, to be able to show.
It's growing and growing. I was going to say that particularly in the energy corridor area, they're being relocated over here for 2 to 5 years. So I think a lot of those people, they're really not wanting to make the commitment to purchase at this point. So for a lease, but they are leasing top dollar. They are getting leases for 2 and 3 years at a time. So, and they are 2 or 3 years at a time because they know they're here. They're going to be here for at least 3 to 5 years. Their companies have sent them.
And these are solid quality tenants out there that are able to commit 24-month, 36-month leases.
These are top dollars. So and a shortage of, as a listing agent, I have people calling me for houses that are for sale that are not even for lease. That has never happened before.
Yeah.
So they're knocking on the door trying to find them. So for investors looking for properties, 4 bedrooms, basically swimming pool, 2 stories, and that's a product that's in demand right now.
That's great news for the Houston market. Chatting this morning with Joe Stiles of Network Funding and joestiles.com, as well as MaryAnn Sterret-Russell of Keller Williams Memorial. You can find her online at energycorridorgroup.com. Again, her website, energycorridorgroup.com. Now, she specializes in kind of that West Houston energy corridor, even out to Katy as well. But she's really got kind of a keen eye across the entire Houston market. So call her with your questions or send her an email. Go to our website, energycorridorgroup.com. And if you've got questions this morning for the program, if you want to interact with In the Money, call us up, 713-785-1817. We're the morning show designed to help Houston focus on investing, the markets, and personal finance. When we get back, we're going to chat more with MaryAnn. We'll chat more with Joe, and we'll keep a look on those futures as we head closer to the opening bell on Wall Street. This is In the Money, and we are on Business 1110. We'll be right back.